Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel So Little Time, and my name is Karen. So today is my first makes video of 2022, so I'm excited to share the garments that I made during the month of January. I have made 4 things in total to share with you, although 2 of those were partially made up before, and I think you've seen snippets of them in a previous vlog, but I got them finished in January, so I'm going to include them in my January makes. So I'm going to kick off with what I am wearing, and this is the Cosy jersey dress by My Handmade Wardrobe Patterns, and that pattern company is by the ladies who own Crafty So and So, and they're a company that are based in Leicester, and they have open days for their shop, which isn't open on a day-to-day basis. They just open it every now and again by appointment, and they do lots and lots of workshops. So I'm going to show you the front of the pattern cover. Now I've got the PDF version, so I've printed the instructions off on A4. So as you can see here, we've got 3 different style options. There's this lovely jersey dress, which is in sort of a more drapey style jersey fabric. The tunic style version, which shows off the seam lines a lot more, and you've got pocket options and cuff detail there. And then the tunic style option, which has a band across the bottom and is essentially the same as the dress, but just shorter. And they've all got a V-neck there. So yeah, really nice style options there to choose from. And also this one does have a belt which you can sew into the seam lines down the front, but I've not included that on my version, and I will show you in more detail. So I went with the dress version, and I've used this beautiful modal jersey which has a beautiful drape to it but does still have quite a bit of weight behind it, so it's really nice to handle while sewing. It washed really well and you don't have to iron it, which is a bonus, and I really do like the drape of this dress and how it is sort of hugging my figure. It's a lovely V-neck, which is a style that I don't have much of in my wardrobe, so I do quite like having that different option, and I think it'd be nice to wear with like a nice necklace or something as well. It has a facing on the inside, and you interface that just so it holds the stability of the V-neck really, and it's definitely worthwhile interfacing that to make sure that the neckline doesn't stretch out. And before I even attached that, I did stay stitch my neckline as well, just so I didn't have it stretching out at all whilst I was handling the fabric, because it was quite heavy, even, you know, for a jersey. It's just a beautiful fabric, this modal. It has seam lines that run all the way down to the bottom of the dress. So the way it's constructed is that you don't insert any sleeves as such. They are sort of grown on. And then underneath here, this section here, you don't have a side seam because the panels, it's like a panel dress, so you've got panels running down the front, and so you sew it that way and then construct the shoulders afterwards. So I did actually find that the under the arm was a little bit gapey, so what I have done is inserted a dart there just to bring that in, because it was a little bit baggy out here on me, and it was just a bit too low where you could see my bra, so I just added a dart, and you can't even notice it because this fabric is quite busy. I don't think you would perhaps have that problem if you were making the Pontoroma dress, because it's got a little bit more structure, so it would sort of hold a little bit easier, but because this is quite stretchy and has a lot of drape to it, it does tend to be a little bit more fluid and stretches all over the place. So yeah, I didn't have to stay starch this fabric or anything. It was really lovely to work with during the construction process. You know, it sewed really well, although I did baste my seams first on my sewing machine purely because I wanted to check the fit before I used my overlocker, because obviously unpicking overlocking stitches is not the best. But I absolutely love how this dress has turned out. So I'm going to pan you down so you can see the shape on me. I made a size small, and I haven't made any changes to the seam allowances. They are 5/8 of an inch as standard. So it's got seam lines that run all the way down the front to the bottom. And if I stand back, you can see that it sort of comes to my knees, and I really like that length on me. I've got the tie belt here, but what you are supposed to do is attach that into the seam lines here, and then obviously to pull it around and tie it. But I decided not to do that, and I constructed the belt completely separately by putting a seam line in the middle of it. And then I wrapped it around my waist, and then I have top stitched it down the back seam lines here. So it's actually attached to the back of my dress. So when I take the dress off, the belt is still attached to the dress. So if I undo my belt, you'll be able to see what the silhouette of the dress looks like without it on. So as you can see, it doesn't really change the shape too much, as this fabric, you know, holds its shape really well. But because I have got it sort of attached from the back here, as you can see, it doesn't distort the front of the dress, whereas if you have it in the seam lines, it would give more of this ruching detail here, and I just didn't want that, so I just attached it at the back, and then I could just like to cinch it in just slightly more on my figure, just to show off my smaller area. But I really do like how this dress is fitting. It's a really nice shape, and really was easy to construct and came together really quickly. I actually sewed it in one morning. Right, so I'm going to quickly get changed into my next make. So my next make is McCalls M7061, and this is the front of the pattern cover here. I have made this in the past. I've made this version here in a fleece fabric, which I just use for lounging around the house on an evening and that kind of thing. I wouldn't wear it out. It's got like a curved hem, so it does come up a little bit shorter than this version that I've made. Yeah, and I really do like this pattern. It's a really, really easy make, and you can just sew it all up on your overlocker or just on your sewing machine without even finishing the seam allowances. There are some other style options of like a sweater with the hood, a sweater with a cowl neck. You can do some sort of pyjama style bottoms or jogging bottoms. Yeah, and you can use it in jersey. You can use it in Ponte-Roma, you know, fleece, so it is quite versatile. And what I decided to do was actually to make this version, which was the pattern that I already had traced off, but I've actually straightened out the hem, so it's not got the curved bit there. So I just made it a slightly more of an A-line shape because I wanted to wear this dress out and about in the day, so it didn't look too sort of nightwear attire really. Yeah, really, really lovely pattern to sew up. So the version that I have made, I've made it in this lovely, it's like a sweatshirting fabric, but slightly thinner. It's not as thick as a sweatshirt, but it's a lovely fleece-backed jersey. I think it's called heavy fleece back jersey or something like that on the Felicity Fabrics website. So they have gifted me this fabric in return for a blog post, so that may or may not be live at the time. I'm not sure at the moment, so if it is, I'll link it in the description box below for you. But I have been wearing this out and about ever since I've made it. It's been so lovely and cozy and warm to wear, although I'm not sure that green is my colour. I will say that when I first asked for this fabric from Felicity's, I thought it was blue, but I think it was just the way the photo was taken when we shared it on a WhatsApp group. So it obviously does look green on their website now, but at the time I thought it was blue. So when it turned up, I was like, oh, it's green. Not really sure if that's my colour, but I went with it anyway, and I have been wearing it loads. So yeah, it's got lovely flowers on it, you know, and stuff. So yeah, it's really, really comfy. So I'm going to just pan you down so you can see the length of it. So it's got the kangaroo pocket on the front here, which I really do like that feature. And then if I stand back, you'll see that it's got the A-line shape to it, where I've taken away that curved bit, and I've done quite a deep hem. I don't know if you'll be able to see from there, but the hem is about, I'd say, 2.5 inches, I think. So it's quite a deep hem where I've top stitched it. And so in actual fact, that does look a little bit like I've added a hemband, where I haven't. It's just where the stitching line is, it shows that deep hem, and because it's a sort of fleecy backed fabric, it leaves a little dent where the stitching is, and I've just used a stretch stitch along there so that, you know, when I move around there's no risk of popping those threads. But it's just such a lovely shaped comfortable jersey dress, and as you can see, you know, it fits me really, really nicely. Yeah, just not too snug, not too loose either, because I do like something that has a little bit more of a nipped in waist here, and this pattern does have that, so that's really, really nice. I really like the hood on this pattern. It's absolutely massive, so it comes all the way over your head. You know, I usually put it about there when I wear it, but yeah, it's got quite a lot of room at the back, so it is really nice. So if it is a bit chilly, you know, you can pop your hood up, or if it's windy or whatever, that's really nice as well. But I do like having this big hood area. So the actual neckline is quite low, so the seam line actually runs around here. So initially I thought, oh, have I stretched it out? But no, that is where the seam line is, because when you look on the pattern detail itself, you might be able to see that you can see the seam line is quite low on there. So that's just the design of it. It's not right up here, you know, so you just does show off a little bit more of your neck and stuff. So you can still wear a scarf with it if you're a bit chilly and that kind of thing. But I've been layering it up with like a sort of gilet. So that looks quite nice with the hood sticking out the back of the gilet. And I've also been wearing it with my Jessie coatigan, and that looks quite nice together with it as well. So yeah, really like this pattern. Hope you like it too. So I'm going to get changed into my next make. Right, so next up is my very bold Wilder gown, but I'm absolutely thrilled with how this dress has turned out. It's very much a Marmite style fabric that I've used. I think you're going to love it or hate it. It is very bold, but I have really enjoyed wearing it, and I really don't care what other people think because I just love it. So I have done this in collaboration with Angela from Devon Threadtails. So a video will be going up on our versions and how we both found the pattern and the construction of the garment itself. And again, we've both made completely different versions, so please do check that out once it is live. So I've used a viscose fabric for this dress, which was gifted to me from Minerva. So it will be going up on my profile very soon as well. I just need to get some photos taken. So in the past, I've made the top version and I used a cotton lawn, which I found was actually quite structured for this style of sort of top dress. So I haven't really been reaching for it. I haven't been wearing it at all. And I did find that the top came up fairly short and I needed to make it more A-line as well. So that's something I will do in the future. So for the dress version, I've made the full-on gown. So this is the front of the pattern, which I'm pretty sure you're all familiar with. As you can see, it's got 2 tiers there, and you can sort of lengthen and shorten those as you see fit. So I've just made the standard full-on gown version there. On the back, you'll see that this is the top version here, so it is quite a straight one. So I would definitely need to A-line that in the future. And then the shorter option, I think it's just like the first tier, but bear in mind that does come up fairly short. I mean, I'm 5'5" and it came up to mid-thigh on me, so I would definitely need to add, either lengthen that or to add another tier on and make it a shorter tier at the bottom or something like that anyway. But there are obviously different options that you could do. And then it's cinched in around the neck with a lovely tie. It's raglan sleeves, so the construction of the dress is relatively simple. It's just that when you add obviously both tiers, you've got quite a lot of gathering. So I shall show you my version then. So it's this beautiful viscose fabric with this massive spot all over it. I do feel very Madonna in this, I don't know why. And it's definitely, because it's a high neck, it's definitely a hair up dress for sure. I think if I have my hair down, it's too much going on around here. But yeah, it just cinches in around the neck with these ties. So you do have like an opening here, and that you can undo and it's just free flowing, and you can take the tie out completely, you know, or you could fix it into place, I suppose, by adding some stitching. So it's got raglan sleeves, as like I said, so that's a really nice feature. And then the actual top bit of the dress itself here, it does finish quite short. So I think you call that empire line, where it's higher than your natural waist. And I've made the size small, which I did make the top in the size small, but like I said, I should have A-lined that. But I thought the size small in the dress version would be fine because you've got the gathered tiers, so it gives a lot more volume around the waist area. But because I made the size small, I felt that this seam line was going to be too short because it basically only just came underneath my bust when I tried it on. So for this seam line here, I used 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, where the seam allowance for the dress is actually 5/8 of an inch. So that's the only change that I made to the seam allowance on this dress. So I'm going to pan you down so you can see the full-on gown. So this is the first tier. So as you can see, it comes to here. So my knee is there. So that's mid-thigh. And then if I stand further back, you can see that it is really quite a long dress. The hem that I've added at the bottom is probably only about 2 centimetres, and I've just overlocked the bottom and turned that up and top stitched it. Yeah, it's a really, really nice swishy dress. But what I have done is added in some waist ties at the back here, just to bring it in slightly. So all I did was opened up the side seams at the bottom of the top section there and just inserted those, and I've just tied it at the back, just so I can pull it in a little bit tighter around my waist sort of area. Yeah, now the bottom tier, I'm going to try and show you this, if I can pan you down a bit more. It actually is made up of 3 sections. So when I first constructed it together and I followed the instructions to the letter, and it tells you to, I think you have to like make snips in the centre front, the centre back, and then you kind of gather in those sections to get it to fit onto the bottom of this bit. So when I did that, what I didn't realise is that you have seam lines then that aren't lined up with the side seams of the dress. So I think with this fabric you can't really tell because it's so bold, and because of the way that the drape of this fabric, you know, and all the gathers and stuff, you can't really see the seam lines. But I just thought that was really odd that you have a seam line obviously running down the side of the dress, and then you have a seam line here on the bottom tier on either side, and then one down the centre back of the tier. I mean, luckily the way that I've managed to cut it, I've not really cut too much spots off in half, so it doesn't really show that off too much, but I just thought that was really quite strange. So a change that you could make if you wanted to would be to make the bottom tiers just 2 panels, and then you sew them at the side seams and obviously gather at the front and the back. But you'd have to just alter the pattern piece to do that. So that would be something I would do if I had a fabric where it was going to be really noticeable that those seam lines weren't in line. So I'm absolutely over the moon with the dress itself. I do have a Guthrie and Garney kit to make another one, which is where I got the pattern from actually. It came with the kit. And I've got some gorgeous viscose fabric, which I think have got a black background and some blue big florals on it, or big daisies or something like that. So I'm going to be making that version in the future. So this was like a toile, I suppose, but I'm going to make a shorter version. So I will play around with the length of the tiers to get it to sort of knee length, because I think that would be really nice for the summer. You can obviously have it short sleeves as well, and I think it would be a really nice option to gather that into some elastic, you know, to give that a nice fuller sleeve if you wanted to make the sleeves a bit poofier. But yeah, absolutely love this dress. So let me know what you think in the comments. My husband Simon, when he first saw it on the hanger, he was, oh yeah, it's not too bad. But then when I put it on, he was like, no, I'm not keen. But I wore it anyway. So yeah, I wore it out to my dad's 70th meal on the weekend. We went out for a meal for his 70th birthday, and I felt really nice in it. So that was nice just to swish around the restaurant whilst we were there. And you know what? Because it's loose fitting, it was really nice to sit there and have a meal and not worry about showing any bulge of the food in my belly at the end. So anyway, that's this pattern. I shall go and get changed into my last make. So next up is the Bobbins and Buttons Millie dress. Now I did a pattern test of this last year and I made a gorgeous floral version which I wore during the summer months, and so I decided that I would really like to have a denim style one which I could wear with tops underneath, and also in the summer I suppose I could wear it without a top, but I just wanted one that was just a bit more plain really. So I've made it in this lovely denim fabric which I got from Bobbins and Buttons, and I will be doing a blog all about this make as well, so I do need to take some photos of it. I just love this style of pinafore. It's nicely fitted around the bust area, so it's got bust darts and these lovely wide straps. It's also got some nice patch pockets on the front, which I have included, although you could completely omit those if you like. And it's just a really nice fitted style dress. Now, I've made the size 10 at the top, but I've graded out to a 12 over my hip area, and I really like how that sort of fits my silhouette. And the thing with this dress is that it actually fits into my back really nicely because I do have a sway back, so I usually get a lot of gathering of fabric at the base of my back if I don't make an alteration, which I've not done so before yet. But with this one I don't have that problem, so I shall pan you down so you can see the dress in full. So it's just a plain sort of indigo fabric. As you can see, I've got the pockets here which are fairly invisible because they're in the same fabric. And then if I stand back, you can see that it's knee length, and I'm really happy with that length on me. So I think the hem is quite deep, so there's a good 2.5 inch hem there easily. Yeah, and it's actually a stretch denim, so it's really, really comfortable to wear. So as you can see, it's nice and fitted at the back, and it sits in my back really nicely as well. So yeah, really, really happy with this dress. So I'm going to be making another cocoa top to wear with it. Although I've got it on my spotty one, I would like to make a stripy one, which I've got some French terry for. So I'm going to do that in my February plans hopefully, so I'll get that sewn up because I think it will look a bit better. The other thing I like about this dress is that it's actually got, I think it's a 22 inch invisible zip down the back, so it does mean that I can step in and out of the dress, so I don't have to put it over my head, which is quite nice as well. Yeah, it's just a lovely sort of style of pinafore, and it just will go with a lot of the tops that I've already got. So yeah, I hope you like my version. Anyway, I think that brings this video to an end. That's the 4 makes that I made during the month of January. I hope hope you like them. Please leave me any comments in the comments section below and I'll answer every one of you. I really love hearing from you and having a good old chat. So please do give this video a like if you've enjoyed it, and also subscribe if you've not done so already. That would be lovely. And I shall see you again very soon with my February plans. Take care, bye.